We continue to share here on Calibishie Chronicle, telling the stories of a time or times past. And I used to believe that stories were black things told about things and people which are just things. But in the context of stories, in terms of what stories really are, life is about stories. People tell actual accounts and share narratives of life. So stories are in themselves very serious, even if some stories are not quote unquote true. But what really is true or not? What may be true for you is not true for another person, and what is true for that person may not be true for you. So all of that is subjective. Storytelling is a subjective art as well. And the experiences that we share here on Calibishie Chronicle are the experiences that I recollect and probably choose to share, because there are things that I may not choose to share about the past. And speaking about the past, I'm not too sure where 35 years have gone past, because it was just the other day I was playing under 19 cricket, and today I'm here talking about 30 years ago as if 30 years ago was just yesterday. For some people 30 years ago was like, whoa, were you even alive then? Yes, of course, I experienced it. That's why we're sharing the experiences that we experienced back then. So on the last episode, we spoke about the bass. We will speak about the la bass as well, because these terms came from a time when I didn't even understand what this term meant. But I know the bass was the under of the dry part of the ocean, or the bed of the ocean, which actually surfaced when the water receded. I'm not too sure if it's when the tide got high or low. I'm not too sure which terminology brings up the surface of the water, but I understood it then as bass dry, and later on I heard the term low tide, high tide. I really don't have the science behind this, nor do I purport to have it, because can't do it all. I just know back in the day, we knew when bass was drying, and we got ready. We made our bullseye, we got our cutlass, we got our sack mayo, we got our hammer sack, our pails, and at the end of the day, everybody in Calibishie had fish. Well, most everybody. Those who didn't get would have been the people who could not go fetch the fish, and we served them, like the elderly and the sick. We would always visit them and serve them with food and take care of their stuff. I said on a previous episode that my responsibility was to Mababi. Mababi lived right next to Cayenne, between Cayenne House and the Christian Union Church. An older lady called Mababi lived there, and my job was to take care of her every day. Empty her utensil, carry her water for her, help her to bathe at times, get food for her and message that she needs. That was my job as a scout. We had to do one good turn a day, and each of us were assigned somebody in the community, and Mababi was my assignment. She was not always the kindest person to me because of the things that she caused me to do, but as degrading as those things were in terms of little chores, around her yard, I did it, and it didn't break me in any way. It made me stronger looking back on things. So the bass tradition is one of the traditions that we experienced. And I think on one of the comments I saw somebody ask about the timing of the water when the water gets back. And I think I saw another comment saying that we knew. And that was a very good comment. You would know. In fact, it was a science that we all had. And those people who didn't understand it, we were guided by those who understood it to know when the water is getting back. And it doesn't take a long time for the water to recede, nor does it take a long time for the water to get back. Before you know it, the water is back up to its natural height. And if you cannot swim, you can get stuck and get yourself in trouble on the dried area. For those people who are wondering, the water, the sea, the ocean front in Calibishie would recede. The water would recede, the entire place would get dried. We even played cricket on the bass at times. Run around, play our games on the bass at times. Now when that happens, you have a window of time to get in there, do what you need to do, catch what you have to catch, because when the water recedes, fish get caught in little rocks and so on. So you catch whatever fish you can catch, and in those days it was a major catch. But you must do so before the water starts getting back. And as to how we knew, I cannot tell you, but something about the atmosphere tells us that that water is coming back, and it gets back within minutes, sometimes maybe for the most like 20 minutes to half an hour, and then the water comes back up as if it had never receded. We may have another episode on the bass situation, but that's where we end this other episode here on Calibishie Chronicle.